yes, today I will start the presentations in the booth talking about virtual production. This is a very nice presentation that includes a lot of introductory content. So I'm sure you will get a lot of new stuff from this presentation. Let's talk about tracking for ICVFX. As I mentioned a minute ago, my name is Dr. Carlos Vilchis. I'm a former ILM Senior Mockup Technical Director. I also work with Vicon as a distributor in Latin America. I have some experience in Unreal Engine, and also I'm an educator and computer vision researcher. And for sure I have been working with Vicon since almost 15 years ago. So yeah, a lot of time with this technology. So everything started with the Mandalorian, as you know. The boom of the virtual production was just in the end of the COVID-19 lockdown. So people was really interested in how the Mandalorian, this show by ILM, was created using different technologies, and one of these specific products was Vicon technology. I'm going to introduce you a little first to this technology. If you are new with virtual production, the main idea will be to give you a good idea how it works and why Vicon is a key component of this industry. Some years ago, 9 years ago, when the people from Hellblade showed the first one of the first integration of real-time tracking using Vicon technology, facial technology, and SIGGRAPH 2016, the people started to take a good idea how this technology will become part of the ecosystem, and right now it's a very important piece of hardware. In some moment, in the GDC in 2019, Epic Games showed how virtual production technology was changing also the way that content was created for content in TVs, using LED walls like the one we have here. And then this was one of the specific interesting points of the industry, because everybody noticed that this technology is becoming more and more popular. Right now, we have a lot of pieces and different concepts related to virtual production. The most important ones are here. As you can see, in the early steps of the pre-production, there are new components that require motion capture to be complete, like the previs, and the VFX department use it for virtual cameras. So as you can see, the ecosystem evolution gives different products that use motion capture. As you can see here, we have motion capture. We have the different pieces of the pre-production, like the pitch beats that use the motion capture. At the end, we have the ICVFX using the motion capture as well. This diagram, it's a little complex, so I can show you specific examples of these pieces of tools that use motion capture. The most important ones, as I mentioned, is the virtual cameras. So virtual cameras improve the way that directors, DOPs, and creatives use the content for narrative process. And later in the ecosystem, we have the in-camera visual effects, that is the LED stage that tracks the camera and use the position of the camera to show the content on the LED wall. Then we have different pieces of hardware and software in this ecosystem. As you can see, Vicon has different pieces, like the network that connects the cameras, the main motion capture cameras. As you can see here in this stage, we have a lot of cameras that are tracking our main camera. And one of the most interesting components to track the camera is the crown. In a couple of minutes more, I will talk about this crown, but as you can see, it's part of the process to have this tracking device. The full ecosystem includes Vicon as the tracking tool that streams the content through Live Link inside Unreal Engine to make the things work together and be merged with different pieces of hardware, like the Perform server, like the video controllers, like the different workflows used to compose the images into the main LED wall. But as you can see, Vicon lives in the early steps of the workflow as a solution. The ICVFX crowns has been an interesting piece of this technology that needs specific solutions to solve specific problems. I will talk about these problems in a minute. But as you can see, we have different solutions. All these solutions were created by different companies in the past, but right now, Vicon has this new active crown. Okay, the active crown that this camera has in the top is the most recently product released by Vicon, and is designed specifically for the demand and requirements of virtual production companies that needs a way to track and reliable source of control to know where is the different cameras located. This crown is an amazing product because it has different, thank you Gaston. This camera have different pieces of hardware connect to this main hub that connects the different LED lights that this crown was created with, and improves the way that companies use it, because you can switch the position of the crown, you can switch the position of the stalls to have different configuration, and make the things easier if you want to track different cameras, or if you want to make the things easier for the tracking, to don't mess around with the different tracking crowns and make the things easier for you. Okay, so I want to point out something that is very, very important, and is the difference between camera tracking and TV tracking. Okay, so as you can imagine, TV tracking has different conditions. TV tracking is not pushed to make the camera to be in different weird positions, because the TV sets are created to work the same way for months or sometimes years. So camera tracking inside a TV stage, it's easy, it's fine, it's not really difficult. You can have a small system and make the things work. But film tracking is way different. Film tracking makes the things way different, because every 2 days you are changing the stages, you are changing the position, the different elements, and the things are really, really difficult for the camera and the tracking. So, as you can see, TV versus film tracking, the most important thing is that the film quality, the photography, and the light control will be the priority for the shooting, and the tracking is in a second priority. So that makes the things very difficult for the different technologies, but guess what? Vicon is not. Vicon doesn't have these issues, because it was designed to work in very, very complex scenarios of tracking. Okay? As you can see, Vicon is considered an outside-in technology. Why? Because the cameras are around the stage and the cameras are tracking inside. This allows the technology to track multiple cameras, to solve different situations, and for sure is the most flexible one. As you can see, you can track actors and cameras at the same time. How many cameras? As much as you want. There's no limit for the tracking cameras. And of course, there's different hardware, different technology that is designed by Vicon clients to make the things easier, but everything orbits around of Vicon technology. So if you ask yourself, what are the different things that I'm looking in a tracking solution to make filmmaking reliable? Obviously, we are looking to be immune to special effects. We need to be immune to reflections. We need to be adaptive to construction elements, redundant. This is a very important part of the process, because another tracking technologies use one single camera to track the position of the main camera, but with Vicon we have a lot of cameras, and doesn't matter if some of the cameras are not working, this system is redundant. So this makes the things easier in the middle of the shooting, because you don't need to stop shooting. Okay, it needs to be easy to move, to remove, to install, easy to calibrate, and for sure it needs to make the things easier for the camera operators. I have a few examples here. As you can see, in different shootings we have smoke, we have fog, we have different artifacts that makes the things important for the narrative process, but are not great for some tracking solution. Vicon doesn't have that issue, because obviously we have a lot of cameras, so if the smoke is more in next to the bar in this image, the tracking cameras behind will be able to track the camera. We have reflections, as you can see, surfaces that are like this lake, that is like a mirror, makes the things very difficult for some tracking solution, but in this case Vicon doesn't have. And it makes the thing easier when you have a ceiling. Virtual production stages that have the ceiling doesn't have the chance to install these constellations that other companies use to track, but in the case of Vicon we use the cameras around the edge. These cameras need to be removed in the composition, in the visual effects process, but at least it's easier and faster than try to make the things from scratch. And obviously, as I said before, to track with different cameras with the same solution, you don't need to pay extra licenses, you don't need to pay extra to have more cameras. This makes the things very, very easy for production. That when I shoot with Steadicams, with cranes, with dollies, etc., it's super, super easy. And the adaptive to the construction elements is another very, very important part of the process, because we know that people likes to construct content and different props inside the stage. So this content needs to be there, and it's impossible to remove. As you can see here in this example, the camera is in the top of this crane. It's super closer to the LED ceiling, but obviously we need to keep tracking. You need to make the things easier for the camera, so Vicon technology pushes the tracking into the limit, so it's easy to be tracked all the time, okay? Or this image that we can see how the camera is all inside this spaceship, and the tracking needs to be reliable, because we know that we want to compose this beautiful image, but if the camera is inside something, it's impossible to track. This takes me to this specific example that is a very difficult one, a tricky one, because we can see how they are tracking inside this, let's say like restaurant, but we have an external tracking volume because the camera is doing a sequence from inside to outside. So this is like two tracking volumes inside one. It's a complex solution, but it works, and that's the flexibility of this technology. So as you can see, there are specific use cases where Vicon is the best solution to track camera, as these the specific examples I create for this presentation. When we have a lot of obstruction, when we want to track props, when we want to track a device to point into the wall, you know, when you have a specific hardware created to track not just the cameras, or when you want to have a super accurate origin for your stage, because another tracking solution doesn't have reliable origins. Just Vicon have a super accurate origin at the middle of the stage. When you want to track movable LED walls, when you want to track under different light solutions because it's hiding, you can relocate the Vicon cameras to track all the time. Or like this image that we have some fire there, and the fire obviously is not super friendly with tracking solution, but Vicon has a lot of tools in the software to make the things super easy. I want to show you a couple of unique tools for ICVFX that Shogun have. One of the most interesting one is the way to import geometry inside Shogun, so you can have a good idea what are the obstruction elements in your tracking. Like this specific shot I have here, you can see how in this stage we have the columns. This is from one of the projects I work with, and we import the columns inside Shogun to be able to see where the cameras will be hiding from the tracking. So this gives us a lot of opportunity to plan how the shooting will be and how the tracking will be reliable for the main camera in the middle of these conditions. And this is another amazing tool that Vicon has, and is the way to visualize the quality of the volume, where the tracking is reliable and where it's not before to shoot. Why? Because in some moment you want to have the camera moving around the different places in the stage, and you want to be if the tracking is reliable or not, but you can simulate it earlier. So this is another amazing tool that we got from this. Now I want to show you how the tracking works. So Gaston, can you help me fire up the virtual production content that we prepare for them? This is a Red Komodo camera. We have obviously a Shogun monitor just to check the content is coming from the main camera. We have the TeraDeck that is streaming directly into this PC. Some batteries, of course, because this is a complete wireless solution that is made very nice to have. And as you can see, the crown, the Vicon crown, is in the top of my camera, and right now it's tracking, so you can see the frostum here. So if you are beginner on this language, the different names of pieces of virtual production, this red square that is moving in the LED wall is the frostum of my camera. So as you can see, the tracking is there. So if I move my camera to different positions doing this pan to the left or pan to the right, obviously the parallax is there, so I can prepare different conditions for my shooting. So I will ask Gaston to change the light conditions a little. So he prepared a couple of options, and this will be really nice because you can see how fast it is to prepare a virtual production content, because we have the way to work. In this case, we are using Unreal Engine with Axisymmetry. Gaston changed from night to day conditions, and the camera is there. As you can see, one of the things I like about this technology is it doesn't matter if I move outside of the volume, as soon as I return, the tracking is there. This makes the thing super reliable because, as I mentioned earlier, the tracking card was designed for that. Compared to another tracking technologies that if you go around and return, you will lose the origin. With Vicon, the origin is based actually in this big truss system, so the origin is here, doesn't matter what. The origin will be there always. Gaston, can you change to the another position? Okay, there you go. So Gaston will move the camera a little for me to take me to another place. This is very nice because it's like if I have a dolly, but he's making the things easier for me. Let's say that is a very nice position. So you can see here there are different trees, different plants. Awesome. Can you return to the night again? Yeah, so that's it. As you can see, this is the way that we work in virtual production in camera visual effects. This is the presentation for you guys. If you want to come closer and ask, or if you want to play with the camera, please feel free to do it. The camera is here for that because we want you to feel confident about how the things work. So as I said, the tracking is super reliable. It's very strong. Doesn't matter what I do, it's gonna be there. So this is the new Vicon Active Crown, guys. If you have more questions, please come closer and I will be more than happy to solve.